Hello friend, welcome back. In this video, we'll solve one of the issue with using that fs module. Like here, I have created one of the file as a data.json, and into this data.json area, they have some of the data. Okay, that is some of the object data. So I simply add that name as a key, and then that is our value, and that is our another key, and that is our another value. So now I want to actually get all the data from our data.json, and then I want to add all that number. Okay, that means I want to sum all that number, and then I want to visible in our this terminal. So how can do that work? For doing this, if you go our index, so into this index, before I have already discussed about that things with you, how can create some of the file, how can read some of the file, how can rename it, and also how can delete it. And here we use that synchronize function, right? Here I'm actually using that callback all that function. So you can also do that work with using that asynchronous function. I hope you already remember, I have already discussed about that things with you. So if you use that as a asynchronous function, then here we have to pass that as a promises, right? But I show you, you can actually do that things a multiple way. Right now I want to remove everything. Okay, so now in our index is clean. First of all, I want to get this data. Okay, I want to get this data. So if you want to get it, then here we have to pass that as a promises, right? So that will be as a promises. Great. And after that, I want to create one of the function. So if you want to create one of the asynchronous function, first of all, we have to use that as a asynchronize, and then our function keyword, and I name it as a get sum. Okay, I name it as a get sum. Great. And then I want to do here, first of all, I want to get that data from our this page as a data.json, right? So now let's do that work. For doing this, better I take one of the variable as a let, I name it as a data. Okay, and then here, if you want to use that asynchronous functions, that will be as a await. Remember, with this await, then our module name as a fs. I want to get this data. For the reasons here, we have to add that function name as a read file. Right now, with this read file, I want to get this data from our which place, so that is into the same page. That means here that will be as a data, okay, data.json. So that is actually our file, right? And here also we have to pass that our anchor tag. So I want to pass that anchor tag will be UTF, okay, UTF-8. Great. I simply get all the data. So now if you want to visible it, that means if you want to display our this data, so you can display it with the console log. I want to display our this data. Okay, now I want to simply pass this data. Now if you click as a save all, and also here we have to display it. That means we have to run our method name as a get sum. Now that should be display. Now click as a save all, and now to run as a node index.js. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now successfully get all that our object data from our which place. It successfully get all that our object data from our data.json, right? So that is our data.json, all the data. Now I want to actually add all that number. Okay, that means all that value one by one. I want to add that sum. So if you want to do that work here, we have to add that as a one of the for loop, right? One by one, that will be check all that our value, and then that will be add this number. So let's do that work. For doing this, I want to do here, first of all, we have to convert it. Yeah, also I hope you already remember that is one of the object array, right? So that is one of the object array. Here, first of all, we have to convert it to the array. With this array, now then we are able to access our this value, right? If you want to convert it, okay, if you want to convert this value, then what exactly you have to do? Better I take one of the variable as a data, and then that will be as a JSON, right? There's a JSON and then first. So with this JSON first, we'll convert our object data to the array. Great. So now here which data? So I have already get all the data. That means that is all that our object data. Take the things with this variable here. I simply pass it. Now JSON parts will be converted to the array, right? And now I want to add this all that array value data. So if you want to get it, that means I take another variable as a let, and I just name it as a sum, and sum I initialize with the 0. Okay, and now here we have to run one of the for loop. Right here we have to run on the for loop. I simply run it on the for loop, and into this for loop area I have already get our JSON data. I make it as an array data, take the things with this variable, right? Here with this I want to run that our for loop. That means I take one of the variable, I just name it as a user. Okay, user, and then that will be the of our data. Okay, that means that is our array data. I take the things with this variable. Now all the data in our user. So now with this user, we are able to access our this data, all that property, right? I want to access our this property as a salary property. If you want to access it, so into the for loop area, okay, here I want to do, I simply add that condition that it will be the sum equal our sum, and then plus our which value I want to get, that our salary value. So that will be, first of all, with this user we have to access it, that will be the user. Okay, with this user I want to access our salary. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. Simple work. Now one by one, that will be add all that our salary number. Like if you want to check it here, I want to check it with the console log. So that will be the console, and into the console log area, now I want to print our this sum. Okay, now I simply print this sum. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go, okay, here I want to run again as a node index.js. Now click as enter. Yes, you can see it's now successfully display our total value. That means our total salary value. Okay, from here if you remove one, like here I remove one, now click as a save all. Now if you run it again, now click as a enter. Now it's actually get another error, because that should be on the error. You can see that should, for the last one you don't need to use that any comma. I remove it. Now click as a save all, and now I want to run it again. Enter. Yeah, you can see now there is our another value. If you remove another one, I simply remove it, click as a save all, now run it again. Now there is our another value. Great. I hope friend it's very much clear to you how can do that work. It is a simple process. I hope every part is very much clear to you. Okay, so thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.